fiancé tried to cut out my birth control while I was asleep, forcing me to run away with my son. I'm a 25-year-old woman with a 2-year-old son from a previous relationship. After giving birth, my doctors immediately asked if I wanted birth control. I didn't hesitate, yes, please, and got Nexplanon inserted into my upper arm. It lasts 3 years, and I've been at peace knowing I have that time. Lately, though, my fiancé, who's 27, started talking about wanting a baby of his own. I said that I want another child too, just not right now. I told him I'd wait until my Nexplanon expired and then not replace it. That would give us time to get more stable, financially and in every way that matters. But my fiancé wasn't satisfied. He wanted a baby immediately. When I refused to move up my timeline, we had a huge fight. I reminded him that my son already sees him as a father figure, that we're already raising a child together while I wait out my birth control. That's when things took a turn. I'll never forget his face as he started shouting at me, saying he wanted a baby that was biologically his, that every time he looks at my son he gets angry. My son, after all, looks just like his biological father. I asked him why he felt that way, and he admitted that he doesn't feel like a parent to my boy, not really. There's no personal attachment, just resentment toward us. That's why he kept pressing for a baby of his own. He wanted my Nexplanon out, immediately. I wasn't budging. I told him flat out that I'm not ready for another baby. The argument kept spiraling until I was so exhausted and frustrated that I decided to end it right there and slip away into our bedroom. Something important to know about me, I take strong medication to sleep. It completely knocks me out, like the Sandman personally walks in and slaps me silly. That night, right after our fight, I took my pills, climbed into bed, and started drifting off. My fiancé stayed in the living room as I slipped into a heavy, deep sleep. Another detail to note, my fiancé knows exactly where my Nexplanon is. He's felt it under my skin. It's hard to miss if you're looking for it. As I slept, I started to stir, feeling fingers prodding at my upper arm. Half awake, eyes still shut, I mumbled at him to stop poking me, annoyed and assuming he was just being childish. But he kept going, and then pressed firmly right on my Nexplanon. That woke me up a bit more, irritation flaring. I just wanted to sleep, but I couldn't with him jabbing at me. I opened my eyes, prepared to ask him what the hell he was doing. That's when I saw it, an object in his free hand, right near my arm, a box cutter. In that instant, adrenaline surged through me, waking me completely. I demanded to know what the hell he was doing. His face went pale, guilt washing over him as he started stammering out excuses. I was just trying to scare you, he blurted. I was checking to make sure you were alive, and it's just a coincidence I'm holding a box cutter. I wasn't buying any of it. I pressed him for the truth. Finally, he looked down and confessed, he'd been planning to cut the Nexplanon out of my arm himself. He'd studied how to do it, he claimed, confident he could remove it safely. We can start expanding our family now. No need to wait 8 months. Livid is an understatement. I screamed at him to get the fuck away from me, to never touch me again. He tried to explain, tried to talk me down, but my trust had evaporated in an instant. I demanded he leave the house. After some back and forth, he finally slunk off. I heard the front door open and close. He's been gone for 3 hours now, and I'm left shaking, terrified, and completely lost about what happens next. I love him, at least I thought I did, but how can I ever trust him again after this? What am I supposed to do? A little while later, I called my mother. She told me I could come stay with her, so I'm packing up my son and we're leaving tonight. I know some people might think I should have seen something like this coming, but he's never acted this way before. He's always been gentle and kind to both me and my son. This argument, and then the box cutter, was so out of character, I truly thought he must have just been speaking out of anger. I hoped he'd apologize in the morning for crossing so many boundaries, for saying such hurtful things. I never could have predicted he'd come at me with a box cutter. I just keep bouncing between disbelief and heartbreak, struggling to reconcile the sweet, loving man I thought I knew and the terrifying stranger I face tonight. Leaving feels right, but it's still impossibly hard. Has anyone else ever been through anything even remotely like this? Am I making the right choice? I don't know how to pick up the pieces after this. Update 1. Everything in my life flipped upside down overnight. My fiancé, who until recently had been unfailingly sweet and loving, not just to me but to my son, too, did a complete 180. During an argument about having another child, he suddenly started saying the most awful, hurtful things. I was exhausted from the fighting, so instead of trying to reason further, I took my trazodone and went to bed, hoping that some sleep would clear the air and bring things back to normal. But I woke up in the middle of the night to something that chilled me to my core. He was standing next to the bed, gripping a box cutter in his hand, looming over me, his focus on my birth control implant in my arm. He said he was doing me a favor. There was this look in his eyes that I'd never seen before. I screamed at him to get out, my voice shaky and loud in the dark. Grabbing my son, I rushed out of the house and drove straight to my mom's place in the middle of the night. I barely remember how I got there, just the pounding in my head and my hands shaking on the steering wheel. After that, I was reeling, confused, shocked, hurt, and honestly really scared. The fear lingered in my chest, heavy and suffocating. Then, at 7 a.m., my phone began vibrating nonstop. It was him, dozens of texts, calls, frantic voicemails, all demanding to know where I'd gone and when I was coming home. I let the phone ring. I couldn't bring myself to even look at him, let alone talk. While I was in the kitchen with my mom, my phone rang yet again. She offered to answer it for me and I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Over the phone, he was yelling, his tone panicked and angry, saying I'd disappeared with my son, out of the blue, leaving out any details about our fight. He asked my mom when she last heard from me and she lied smoothly, saying it was last night. He let out an angry sigh, then insisted he was going to keep looking for us because he was worried something bad might happen. My mom hung up and immediately wrapped me up in a hug. My tears surprised me, they spilled over before I even noticed I was crying. She kept holding me and gently asked how I wanted to move forward. Was I done with him for good? I nodded, feeling the last of my hope shatter, and she took charge. First thing was getting the police involved. The officers listened to my story, but there was a problem. I had no evidence of the box cutter incident. It would be my word against his. The detective said he's seen similar cases get thrown out unless there was evidence of actual injury. Still, he recommended filing for ex partes for both myself and my son right away. We rushed to the courthouse and filled out stacks of paperwork, me writing out every detail I could remember, my mom steady beside me. We left nothing out, not a word from the argument, not a single action. With the papers submitted, we took the next step, calling my landlord. I've lived in that house for 2 years, first on a lease, then month to month. Everything is in my name, most of the furniture is mine. I briefly explained what was happening and gave my 30-day notice, with my mom promising me her guest room no matter how long I needed it. From there, we called all the utilities to close my accounts, water, electric, gas, internet, shutting down every tie I had to that house. My mom then gently asked what I wanted to do about my belongings. I told her I wasn't leaving anything behind, important documents, sentimental knickknacks, clothes, even the furniture. She suggested a storage unit, so that's what we settled on. Next, we needed help moving, so she reached out to my brothers, who both agreed to help as soon as I set the date and time. My older brother recommended a police standby, apparently it's called a civil standby, just in case my ex made trouble. I immediately agreed. By that point, the exhaustion had set in, heavier than ever, pressing down until all I wanted to do was curl up with my son and shut the world out. Late in the day, the county clerk called me to say the judge had granted the ex partes. There was court paperwork to pick up, including my court date. She told me my ex would be served soon and reassured me that I wouldn't have to see him again until court, when I would try to make the orders permanent. She recommended I get a lawyer. All those logistics made my head spin. I promised myself I'd deal with that tomorrow. Tonight, I just needed peace, just me and my son curled up in bed for a little while. Looking back, people have questioned why I didn't leave sooner, when my ex first started saying such awful things about my son. The truth is, I didn't really believe he meant them. He'd always told my son he loved him. I was in shock. I couldn't believe that this was coming from someone I'd truly imagined spending my life with. I never thought he really had hatred in his heart, or could ever hurt either of us. He'd never even spanked my son. I thought we just needed time apart to cool off, so I went to bed, hoping that things would look different in the morning. I was naive. Others have asked why I'd even consider staying, or trying to talk things out. I wish I understood it myself. Maybe part of me really thought I was just dreaming, that I'd wake up and it would all be back to normal. Maybe it's the guilt, that twisted, persistent feeling that every fight is somehow my fault, that I was too harsh or too stubborn to see things his way. I don't know. By now, everything feels surreal, almost like I'm watching someone else's life play out. There's a pit of dread in my stomach every time I think about what I'll do if he shows up at my mom's house. I still haven't answered any of his calls or messages, and now he legally can't contact me. My best friends have called to say he's tried to get in touch with them, and even my younger brother. Apparently he's always secretly hated my ex, though I only found out today, got a call. Everyone has said they know nothing, that they haven't said a word. Still, I'm scared. The fear is heavy and real. I don't know what's going to happen next, but tonight, I just need to hold my son close and try to believe that, somehow, we'll be okay. Update 2. My mom has truly been an absolute angel through all of this. I even showed her some of the thoughtful things people have said about her. She deserves every bit of those compliments. Never once has she made me feel like I couldn't be fully honest with her. She opened her house to me all over again, even though I'd moved out years ago, and she's the reason everything keeps moving forward. Her organization skills are next level. She made a detailed list and yesterday, we followed it to the letter. When I hesitated or wanted to delay taking action, she'd gently remind me of the risks, that my ex could find me, hurt me or my son, or even harm anyone who tries to help us. I'm honestly ashamed that I never realized just how much support I truly have, or how amazing my family is. Some people pointed out that I should be careful in case my ex manages to find me, but my mom and brothers already had a plan for that. They called it round robining. If he found me at my mom's, I'd immediately move to my eldest brother's place. If he tracked me down there, I'd temporarily stay with my younger brother. Everyone keeps telling me how impressive it is that I'm moving so quickly and handling things so well, but honestly, that credit goes to my family. They're the ones going above and beyond for me and my son. It may sound like I'm quoting a fanfic, but it's the truth. My family is extraordinary, and I owe it all to them. I grew up during the days of LiveJournal, when writing helped me organize my thoughts. Turning to a supportive community for advice is natural for me, it's my way of making sense of everything that's happened. Another thing that's been weighing on me is my ex's sudden change. I don't want him in my life anymore, but people have mentioned things like a brain tumor or a psychotic break, and now I find myself genuinely worried. I messaged his parents this morning, letting them know I broke off the engagement and left, but both of them still haven't read it. I don't know how to talk to them about his health. Will they be angry that I suggested this might be a breakdown? Would they actually take him to get checked out? And if they tried, would he even agree to it? I truly don't know what to do here. There are still so many things to figure out, and I even had a consultation with a lawyer today, but I need more time to process everything before I can really talk about it. Honestly, it still doesn't feel real. It's like I'm stuck inside a badly written teenage fanfic. I just wanted to let you know I'm paying close attention to every helpful suggestion, and I'm not ignoring any good advice that comes my way. While my mom took my son out for ice cream to give me a breather, I finally had a quiet moment to take it all in. I'm truly humbled and grateful for every bit of kindness and support I've received. Some things people have done for me, just simple sweet gestures, mean the world. I may ramble sometimes, but I want you to know I really am absorbing all the help, one step at a time. Update 3. When my ex was served his papers, he absolutely did not take it well. I had already blocked him on everything, but he managed to take a picture of his papers and posted it on Facebook, tagging me and my son in a not-so-subtle message. To make matters worse, all of my personal information was on full display. A mutual friend noticed and immediately took a screenshot to let me know what was happening. After getting some advice, I picked up the phone and called the police. I explained the situation and asked whether this counted as breaking the ex-party. They listened, took down an incident report, and told me I could come pick it up the next day at the station. No arrests were made, though. Meanwhile, my mother, who has always been a powerhouse, had already found me a fantastic lawyer. In her own words, a shark, which is what we need right now. The moment I told my lawyer about the screenshot and everything my ex had done, he wasted no time. He immediately filed his appearance on my behalf, as well as a motion for contempt of court, citing my ex's violation of the ex-party and the threatening nature of his post toward me and my son. The official court date wasn't scheduled until next week, but because of the screenshot incident, the judge scheduled an emergency hearing. So there we were, my ex showed up alone, without an attorney, and I arrived with mine. Thanks to COVID restrictions, no extra people were allowed inside the courtroom. I would have given anything to have my mom beside me, but my lawyer, instead of sitting with the other attorneys, sat right next to me and positioned himself between my ex and me the entire time. There was a bailiff there as well, standard procedure, I guess. My lawyer advised me to let him do all the talking. I was to answer only when directly questioned, and to keep my answers as short and direct as possible. The judge ended up giving my ex a stern warning. If he so much as mentioned me or my son, he'd be looking at 24 hours of jail time per incident until our official court date. He was also ordered to pay my legal fees for the emergency session. That Friday, with massive help from friends and family, I finally got myself and my son's things out of our old house. I knew my ex was supposed to be at work, so we timed our arrival, along with a police officer, just in case, to be an hour after his shift started. We took only what was rightfully ours or what was necessary for my son and me. Any shared or disputed items, I left behind without a second thought. Most of our things went into 2 separate storage units, both secured and locked at night. The essentials, our day-to-day stuff, ended up at my mom's place. I noticed that my ex's parents finally opened my messages, but still haven't responded. My lawyer informed me that the official court date is still on for next week, and so far nobody has appeared on behalf of my ex. Who knows if he'll even get a lawyer. My lawyer reassured me the hearing would proceed similarly to the emergency one, just as direct and no nonsense, a general hearing, grouped with others who filed ex partes against various people. No extra attendees, masks required, and my lawyer committed to keeping my ex as far from me as possible. I was told not to speak unless spoken to answer succinctly, and only elaborate if instructed. My lawyer felt confident the ex partes would become permanent restraining orders, though he reminded me that permanent in legal terms means just a year, unless you check the box to renew each year, which, believe me, I did. Every year, however, my ex can appeal, dragging us back to court again and again. Right now, I'm just fighting to keep my head above water. It scares me, because people have started messaging me saying they've seen that post spreading across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, some sleuths even figured out what state I'm in. I'm desperately hoping my ex won't connect the dots. All I want is to keep my son's life as normal as possible. It tears me up when he asks, "When are we going home? Where's Papa?" He only knows we're having a really long sleepover with his Mimi. On the bright side, he's crazy about my mom's pets. Since animals weren't allowed at our old place, having a dog and a couple of cats around has been a whole new adventure for him. I made sure to warn his daycare about my ex, and most of my family and friends know that things are serious right now, though I haven't shared many details. The week has been exhausting. I find myself constantly looking over my shoulder, insisting my mom add extra locks to the doors. People keep suggesting we get cameras installed outside, and my mom's already started pricing them. Turns out my aunt has been on her case for months to try Ring, so if nothing else, this whole fiasco might be just the push we needed. All I can do is keep moving forward, one day at a time. Update 4. The permanent restraining order was granted last Tuesday. My ex didn't show up to court, again. My lawyer said that was actually better for us, since the judge had no reason to hear his side or show any leniency. Walking out of that courthouse should have felt like a victory, but honestly, I just felt drained. My mom kept saying it's over now, but something in my gut told me it wasn't. I was right. Thursday night, around 2 a.m., my mom's security cameras caught someone walking slowly past the house. The figure was too blurry to identify, but they stopped directly in front of our driveway for nearly 10 minutes before moving on. My mom called the police, but by the time they arrived, whoever it was had disappeared. The officer took a report but said unless someone actually trespassed on the property, there wasn't much they could do. Friday morning brought the real curveball. I was making breakfast when my phone rang, unknown number. Usually I let those go to voicemail, but something made me answer. Is this about your ex-fiancé? The voice was female, older, nervous. My blood went cold. Who is this? My name is Linda. I think you need to know something. About Marcus. She knew his name. My hands started shaking. I don't know who you are, but please don't hang up. I saw your story online. The one that's been shared everywhere. My heart sank. Of course it had spread beyond what I'd expected. Marcus has been staying with my daughter, Stephanie. They've been involved for about 6 months now. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too hot. I sank into a chair. Involved how? She's pregnant. 8 weeks along. She thinks he's going to leave you for her, but after seeing what you wrote. Linda's voice cracked. I'm worried about what he might do to her. Or to you. 8 weeks. I did the math quickly. That would have been right around the time he started pressuring me about getting pregnant, when he began those awful comments about my son. The timeline made my stomach turn. Where is he now? I managed to ask. That's just it, Stephanie doesn't know. He left Tuesday night after getting some kind of papers and hasn't been back. She's been calling him nonstop. She's only 19, and she really believes he loves her. 19. Jesus Christ. Linda gave me Stephanie's number, begging me to call her, to warn her. After we hung up, I sat in my mom's kitchen for an hour, staring at my phone. Part of me wanted to delete the number and pretend this conversation never happened. But another part of me, the part that remembered being 19 and naive, knew I couldn't ignore this. When I finally called Stephanie, she answered on the first ring. Marcus? Oh my God, where have you been? I've been so worried. This isn't Marcus. My name is Sarah. I need to talk to you about him. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. Then, you're her. You're the crazy ex who's trying to ruin his life. That stung, but I pressed on. Stephanie, I know you're pregnant. And I know you think he's going to choose you. But you need to understand what kind of person he really is. He told me you were possessive and controlling. He said you wouldn't let him have kids and that you used your son to manipulate him. The lies came so easily to him. Did he tell you he tried to cut my birth control implant out of my arm with a box cutter while I was sleeping? Another long pause. That's not true. Marcus would never. Stephanie, why do you think he hasn't come back? Why do you think he got served with a restraining order? I could hear her crying now. He said those were just temporary papers, that you were being vindictive because he broke up with you. He didn't break up with me. I left in the middle of the night because I was terrified of what he might do next. We talked for another 20 minutes. I told her everything, not to hurt her, but because she deserved to know who she was really dealing with. By the end of the call, she was sobbing. I don't know what to believe anymore, she whispered. Believe your instincts. If something feels wrong, trust that feeling. Saturday morning, Stephanie called me back. Her voice was different, smaller, scared. He came back last night. But he's different. Angry. He kept asking me questions about who I'd been talking to, if anyone had contacted me. When I mentioned my mom was worried about me, he flew into a rage. He grabbed my wrist so hard. She trailed off. Stephanie, you need to get somewhere safe. Now. I can't. He took my car keys. He said I can't leave until we figure things out. I'm scared, Sarah. I'm really scared. My mom was already reaching for her phone to call 911 when I gave her the address. But when the police arrived at Stephanie's apartment, it was empty. Both she and Marcus were gone. That was yesterday. I haven't slept since. My lawyer filed an emergency motion about Marcus violating the restraining order by proxy, but without concrete proof he orchestrated the original contact. It's complicated. The worst part? This morning I found a note tucked under my mom's windshield wiper, just 2 words in Marcus's handwriting. Found you. I'm writing this from my older brother's house now. We moved again last night, in the dark, like fugitives. My son keeps asking why we keep having sleepovers at different houses, and I'm running out of ways to explain it without scaring him. I keep thinking about Stephanie, wondering where she is, if she's okay. And I can't shake the feeling that this is just the beginning. Update 5. I never thought I'd be writing another update so soon, but everything has spiraled completely out of control in ways I couldn't have imagined. Tuesday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. It was Stephanie, and she was whispering so quietly I could barely hear her. Sarah? I'm okay. I'm at my cousin's house about 2 hours north of the city. But I need to tell you something about Marcus that you're not going to believe. She explained that after the police came to her apartment and found it empty, Marcus had driven them to some motel outside town. He was paranoid, convinced that I had somehow tracked them down. But here's the part that made my blood run cold. While they were there, Stephanie overheard a phone conversation Marcus had with someone else. He was talking to another woman, she said, her voice shaking. Someone named Jessica. He was telling her that he'd be free soon and they could finally be together properly. Sarah. I think there might be more of us. My hands went numb. More of us? He kept talking about cleaning up loose ends and how Jessica was the only one who really understood him. When I confronted him about it, he completely lost it. Started screaming that I was just like you, paranoid and possessive. That's when I knew I had to get out. Stephanie managed to escape when Marcus went to get food, taking nothing but her phone. She'd been hiding at her cousin's ever since, too scared to go home. There's something else, she continued. Before I left, I saw a notebook in his stuff. It had addresses written in it. Yours, mine. And at least 3 others I didn't recognize. There were photos too, printed from social media. Pictures of women with their kids. My stomach dropped. I immediately called my lawyer, who connected me with a detective specializing in stalking cases. Detective Rodriguez listened to everything and asked me to arrange a 3-way call with Stephanie. After hearing her account, he said something that chilled me to the bone. This sounds like a pattern predator. Someone who specifically targets single mothers, gains their trust, then tries to control their reproductive choices. The pregnancy obsession, the hostility toward existing children, it's textbook. Thursday morning brought the breakthrough we needed, but not in the way I expected. My mom was taking my son to daycare when she noticed a car following them. Instead of panicking, she did something brilliant. She drove straight to the police station. The car kept following right into the parking lot. It wasn't Marcus behind the wheel. It was a woman I'd never seen before, mid-30s, blonde, visibly pregnant. When the officers approached her car, she broke down completely. Her name was Jessica, and she'd been involved with Marcus for over a year. She was 6 months pregnant and had been living in what she thought was a committed relationship with him. Until this week, when he suddenly started talking about other obligations he needed to handle first. He told me there were women trying to ruin his life, she sobbed to the police. He said he needed to make sure they couldn't hurt our family. I thought he meant legally, like custody battles or something. I never thought. Jessica had become suspicious when Marcus started disappearing for days at a time, always with vague excuses about handling business. When she followed him Tuesday, she discovered he'd been staying at a motel with Stephanie. Confronting him led to a fight where he grabbed her and shook her, screaming that she needed to trust the process. That's when she realized she might not be the only one, and started following my mom instead, hoping to find answers. Detective Rodriguez connected the dots quickly. Marcus had a pattern. He'd identify single mothers through dating apps or social media, present himself as the perfect stepfather figure, then gradually become obsessed with getting them pregnant while showing increasing hostility toward their existing children. When they didn't comply with his timeline, he'd escalate. But here's the truly disturbing part. Jessica revealed that Marcus had been keeping detailed files on all of us. Photos, daily routines, information about our children's schools, even our family members' addresses. He'd been planning something much bigger than I'd realized. He kept talking about starting fresh, Jessica told us. About how some people just couldn't see the bigger picture and needed to be removed from the equation. I thought he meant breaking up with them. Oh God, I thought he just meant breaking up. The police issued an immediate bolo for Marcus. They also discovered he'd purchased camping supplies and rented a storage unit under a fake name. When they got the warrant to search it, they found zip ties, duct tape, and printed maps marking all of our addresses. Friday night, they found him. He'd been camping in state forest land about an hour from my older brother's house, apparently planning to wait us out. When they arrested him, he had night vision goggles, more detailed maps of our daily routes, and a notebook filled with what Detective Rodriguez called concerning manifestos about family planning and genetic legacy. Marcus is being held without bail on multiple charges: stalking, violating a restraining order, possession of burglary tools, and making terroristic threats. The prosecutor thinks more charges will be added as they analyze everything they found. Jessica is in protective custody and getting counseling. She's agreed to testify against him, though she's struggling with the realization that their entire relationship was built on his obsession with control and manipulation. Stephanie is staying with family out of state until the trial. She lost the pregnancy, whether from stress or other factors, I don't know, and it's not my place to ask. I just hope she can heal from all of this. As for me and my son, we're finally going home. My mom hired a security company to install cameras and upgrade all the locks. My lawyer says with all the evidence they've gathered, Marcus will likely be looking at serious prison time. My son asked me yesterday why we've been having so many sleepovers, and I realized I couldn't protect him from the truth forever. I told him that Papa had made some very bad choices and wouldn't be coming back, but that we were safe now. He nodded solemnly and asked if we could get a dog like Mimi has. Maybe we will. The hardest part is realizing how close we all came to something much worse. If Jessica hadn't followed my mom that day, if Stephanie hadn't overheard that phone call, if any number of small things had gone differently. I keep thinking about the other addresses in his notebook, wondering if there are more women out there who don't even know they were being watched. Detective Rodriguez assured me they're following up on every lead, every name they found in his files. For the first time in weeks, I slept through the night last night. My son curled up next to me, and I listened to him breathe, grateful for the mundane sound of safety. It's not over, there will be a trial, testimony, probably appeals. But the immediate threat is gone, and that's enough for now.